Okay folks, we're ready to start the next phase of this project, and that is doing the pommel. So the way I'm going to do the pommel, I've got a piece of 1 1/4 inch round stock chucked up in the lathe here. First operation is to drill and tap the hole, because this is actually going to be going to screw onto a piece of all thread. So I already have a center drill bit that I just drilled a tiny little hole, and now I've got the drill bit to drill the hole for the threads. And I got to make sure I don't go too far. That's going to go through the end here. So it's got to be about 40 thousandths, 400 thousandths through here, and then we'll put the shape to it, and we'll know where to cut it off. All right, let's get to it. Now we're just going to replace the chuck with a live center, and this just spins and will sit right in that hole, and it'll support this as we use the lathe. There. All right, we'll take our measurements off here. It's a 1/2 inch, and then we'll start putting our contour in it.
I know I say this every time, but I really love using the lathe, and now I look for excuses to use the lathe on projects. It only took me about 10 or 15 minutes to get the shape I needed, then I moved on to a chainsaw file just to get that perfect smooth bevel.
I figured before I cut this off, I better tap the hole. I've actually flattened one end so this would stay securely in the vise. So, I'm going to need this tap and also the spiral tap to get to the very bottom.
I know there's machinists watching saying, why didn't you just tap it in the lathe? Well, I've never done that before, but I actually did it for the second and third one, and yes, it's a lot easier. Let me tell you folks, it was a lot easier to grind and sand the pommels than it was the guards. Cylindrical things are easy to grind and sand. Now I'm cutting the slot for the all thread. It's much better to do this than to try to weld it on the end.
I'm ready to weld the all thread onto the ends of the tangs. And guys, it's super important, tape up your blade fully before you do this. Because if you were to just ground the board and then set the knife on it, if the knife moves, you'll get spots all over the knife from the connection. So make sure you tape up the blade, and ask me how I know this. So I've got the positive connected directly to the knife here. And then I'm just going to weld each one. All right, let's do it. Okay, we're going to try this again with the right gas. I went to air gas earlier. They gave me argon instead of MIG, which I asked for and paid for. All right, now let's do it with the right gas.
The next step is to put some shape on these guards. Here I'm using a round nut just to use as a contour for my profile.
All right, it's time to put the bends in each of the flares on the guard. I'm going to do this cold. Hopefully this works okay. This hasn't been hardened, so let's hope.
I've run a couple of normalization cycles on the guards just to make sure they're not brittle, and now it's time to quench them and do this so the Damascus pattern matches. Here I'm putting my maker's mark in the ricasso of all 3 blades, then I'll do a final sanding.
All right, time to etch. First thing I'm going to do is the guards. Wash them off carefully in acetone. So you can see some of the grease that's coming off them. And I like to wear gloves for this, just to make sure I don't have any other grime go on them. Here goes. Okay, here we go. I've got the pommels and the mild steel guard. I got my blackening solution. I've got the stuff cleaning in the cleaning solution, and now I'm going to drop it in the blackening solution. I'm starting the timer. Should be about 10 minutes.
The neighbors decided to cut the grass right when I pulled them out. Here I'm washing them, then I'll go inside, clean them, and then let them soak in mineral oil. Time to hammer on the guards for the final time.
I've got the final stain on all 3 handles. I've put them all on the lathe here just to do some final burnishing before the glue up. So I got everything set up, ready for glue up. The pommels came out really nice and black. They're a little dirty right now because I did a test fit, but they're going to shine up really nice. I hammered on all the guards to fit exactly with the handles. I'm going to leave the handles on. I'm going to pour the epoxy down and just hand tighten as much as I can the pommels, and we should be good to go.
Thanks for joining me on this build, folks. I love doing these K-bars. It was certainly a challenge doing the stack leather handles. Some new techniques that I learned here. The hot blackening of the fittings was cool, and you'll see that in some upcoming episodes. So 2 of these are sold, the small one and the large non-Damascus one, both going to Marines. The big one is going to Ed, who I think he said he's going to go to his mom, Linda. So congrats, Linda. Your son has commissioned this knife for you. So guys, the last one, the big Damascus one, will be available, but again, it's going to go to patrons first. So Patreon members will get the first crack at purchasing that knife. So it will be up there as soon as the day after this video launches. So if you're not a Patreon member, why don't you consider subscribing and becoming a member if you want a chance to get a purchase of this knife. Thanks guys, we'll see you on the next build.